The Syulen is a brand new starter ship from the new Xi'an manufacturer Gatac. This is both the first alien starter ship and the first flyable ship we've seen from Gatac. We got the Raylan concept last year, but with the Syulen being the first flyable ship from this manufacturer, it gives us a nice insight into their design language and what we can expect from their future ships. The Gatac Syulen comes in at $65 war bond or $70 if using store credit, which is a good bit cheaper than a lot of community members, myself included, thought this would come in at. The game package is marked at $85, which puts it right in between the Avenger Titan at $75 and the Nomad at $90. The Syulen game package is currently discounted down to $72, putting it just under the Titan for the duration of this year's IAE event. The IAE edition of the starter pack also includes a nice white marbled paint and lifetime insurance. If you're planning on picking this ship up as your first game package, be sure to use a referral code when setting up your Star Citizen account. You'll find mine linked down below and on screen, but if you don't want to use mine, be sure to at least use someone's. This will give you a little bit of extra starting cash when entering the game, which can be the difference of being stuck in the default suit or being able to get yourself a better gun and some armor before setting out. With all that out of the way, let's look at what this ship brings to the table. The Syulen comes equipped with 2 size 1 shields, 3 size 3 hardpoints that are not on easily destroyable struts, which may seem like an insignificant detail, but given CIG's recent history, is actually really nice to see. It also comes equipped with 12 size 2 missiles, 6 SCU of cargo which are stored as pairs on 3 separate folding compartments, an SCM speed of 200 meters per second, and a top speed of 1200 meters per second. The ship design team really nailed the monolithic feel with its very imposing stance when first walking up to it. It also features really bright headlights, probably thanks to the new headlight refactor we got in this update. Walking up to the entrance of the ship, the door actually breaks down into stairs, which features the Xi'an's trivial use of their gravtech. The first deck features all the engineering components. We have component bays flanking the entrance, with a gun and utility rack that can fit 2 rifle-sized weapons, 2 pistol-sized weapons, and 2 utility slots. And of course an armor locker. We also see the elevator that'll take us up to the second deck, which is the habitation floor. Here we have a bathroom, which features a Xi'an toilet and a sink, as well as a hidden human toilet and toilet paper. Next to that, we have a bed that features a really nice cave-like surrounding, and a shared storage box at the foot end of the bed. On the opposite wall, there's a small desk with a fold-out bench. Moving on to the third floor, this is where your flight deck is, or, as the ship design team calls it, the cathedral. Here we have some extra component access, and a light switch that will actually change the colors of the LEDs that surround your MFD panels. Sitting in the pilot seat, you're greeted with by far the coolest experience for getting in a pilot seat, and the visibility out of the cockpit is great, with the 2 MFDs also not obstructing your view at all. The Syulen is a joy to fly. It has a fast top speed while maintaining relatively fast speeds in atmosphere, and it handles great for something of its size, which is quite large, so keep an eye on your legs. The Syulen has great versatility, allowing players to try their hand at a variety of different gameplay loops that Star Citizen has to offer. Box deliveries are some of my favorite missions for beginners. It allows you to get acclimated to the ship's flight characteristics and sticks to areas with landing pads, so the vertical takeoff and landing shouldn't pose any additional headaches. The Syulen makes quick work of getting in and out of these areas thanks to its vertical takeoff and very fast atmospheric speeds. It also makes a great shuttle if you want to get your hands dirty down in some bunkers. It has the guns to handle taking out bunker turrets easily, gun racks, and plenty of internal storage for some loot, and it also includes that shared inventory space to stash items for friends, like food, water, or medical devices. Landing at these bunkers can be a bit tricky, but we'll get into that at a later part in this video. With the Syulen's weaponry and atmospheric handling, it also makes quick work of any bounty hunter contracts you may take on. I had no issues up to VHRT, and ERTs are doable, but they take a little bit longer since its DPS is relatively low compared to the health pool of the targets you're up against. While under fire, its multiple size 1 shields allow it to keep a larger shield pool while maintaining a quick regen time. In PvP, due to its larger cross-section, it doesn't fare so well against player targets, getting easily overwhelmed and outmaneuvered by commonly flown light fighters. The cargo space feature on the Syulen isn't enough to do dedicated trade runs, which is unfortunate since CIG decided to label it as a cargo-focused ship, but still good enough to do some light runs while on a delivery mission. Okay, now let's address the elephant in the room. The vertical takeoff and landing is weird. That's really the best way I can put it. Is it hard? No, not really in my experience. I'd say I'm an average pilot, and it took me a couple seconds to tell myself the controls, and I just took it slow, and I got out of the hangar on my first try. The front-loading hangars are definitely challenging if you're landing in first person, but what you can do is, if you don't feel like landing it yourself, is fly into the hangar face first like you would any other ship, hover above the pad, and then just hold N to auto-land. It's worked perfectly for me so far. Top-loading hangars and pads are really easy. Just line up to the pad, set your pitch meter to 90 degrees, and go backwards. If you need a bit of extra help, there's a rear camera view you can set to a keybind. Some people complained about it not being centered, but it's always been spot on for me. Only issue is the camera is relatively far away from the rear of the ship, so as you get closer to the pad, it tends to clip through the floor, but still really useful to get a line and view on the surface. The only things I don't like about the vertical takeoff and landing is at bunkers and just the muscle memory of it all. Bunkers can have some funky terrain around them, with a lot of obstacles. The rear camera makes it a little bit easier to see some things that may obstruct or canter your landing, but it still can be a hassle. The second thing is, I just don't have the muscle memory to do a quicker or more emergency style landing. For the most part, it's a trivial complaint. It just takes a few extra seconds of lining up, remembering which way the controls go, and just getting used to it. But in a more intensive combat environment, say rushing into a hangar because you're getting shot at outside of a station, or trying to land behind a rock before the bunker turrets take you out, or some other niche scenario where you may need to land quickly, it gets really difficult, at least for me, to land in a more smooth, fluid, but still quick motion. The other thing is, as a new player, if this is your first or only ship, it may be difficult to translate that muscle memory to literally any other ship in the game. That's not really a huge deal or a huge con in my book, but it's still something you need to keep in mind. If you can get used to the Syulen's landing configuration, it has a lot of features that make this a very useful starter ship. The firepower is adequate enough to do any bounty mission, it has interior with all the amenities, it's fun to fly, and it looks fantastic. I really can't find any glaring flaws with it that would make me not recommend it to a new player at its price point. As someone's first ship, it probably wouldn't be my first choice, however. I think the Titan makes a bit of an easier, cheaper, but still fully fleshed out starter ship for new players. The Nomad, while losing a bit on combat ability, brings a lot more utility. The ability to carry a ground vehicle, namely the Grey Cat Rock, which is a ground mining buggy, opens up a whole different gameplay loop that no other starter does below its price point. But if the looks have you dreaming of living that alien life, and you can get used to the landing, it really is a great starter ship for what it's worth. While that may not be my first recommendation, the Syulen definitely gets my seal of approval as someone's first starter ship. Let me know down below if you like the Syulen, if you picked one up, and if this is your first or only ship. If you got something out of this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing with the bell icon to get notified when I upload next. My uploads are few and far between, but I try to make whatever I upload the best quality content possible at my capacity. Also, consider following me on Twitch to catch me live whenever I do have the chance. Your support is much appreciated, and I hope to see you all someday in the verse.